Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It is Apex here with another market sector analysis. I hope you're all having a great day and capitalizing on that insane market volatility that we have seen out of the gate this week. Absolute madness across sectors and individual names. We see tickers like GME that have had some of the most prominent short squeezes over the last year or so. BBBY, Bed Bath and Beyond, another one. I was actually in this trade, average in the low 20s, took profit in the 30s, and that is a crazy candle. These high short float stocks are stealing the show for sure. A lot of tickers with a high short float are seeing these massive responses to the results that we have seen in GME and Bed Bath and Beyond and others. So shorts are getting scared, adding fuel to the fire. These longs are going absolutely ballistic. So tons of volatility out in the broader markets. So let's get started. SPY, as you can see, that volatility reflected with today's candle close. We see a nice, beautiful bullish hammer candle, great bull volume. We can see some of the more detail if we zoom in. You can see some more detail if we zoom into the lower time frame. So on the 15-minute chart, market started off slow and steady, grinding higher, and then we saw a huge dump. Bulls bought the dip, changed that 15-minute trend, signified the hourly bounce, and had a beautiful V-shaped recovery, lots of volume coming in at the end of the day, which I always love to see. So SPY on the short term looks very healthy. Bulls need to break the pivot high of 384.95 and ultimately need to hold this pivot low of 373.70. On the hourly chart, we can see if we have that daily bounce set, and it's arguable that we do. So we have this dump in the morning, bounce, small pullback, and a break of that lower pivot high, which could confirm that daily trend change. The reason why we want to see that daily trend change is so we can confirm the hourly bounce and use today's low of 378.46 as our interim pivot. But we'll wait for that hourly trend to change. Once we break over the all-time high, that'll be our new pivot low. Or if we don't, then we pull back and have some levels to defend. The dollar, so making a higher low compared to our pivot here set on January 12th, but not a whole lot going on. Main pivot high that the bulls need to break is 90.9, and the pivot low that they need to defend is 89.92. QQQ, another one of these sectors with a huge lower wick, signifying that early weakness. QQQ very similar to SPY. Big gap up open, massive dump. Bulls bought the dip, changed that 15-minute trend, set the hourly bounce, and looks pretty good overall. So hourly bounce is underway again, a little bit of undecided technical articulation here. Very wordy sentence. We have that small lower high and then a break of the interim pivot low. So we could make the argument that we've seen the daily bounce, but we'll wait for more confluence. New pivot high that the bulls need to break is today's high of 330.32. Main pivot low that they need to defend is 310.58. And if we see some continuation over today's high, I will consider the pivot low of today, 321.41, as a new level to watch. We can see across the tech sector. Actually, I'll start with Netflix. So Netflix had that massive reaction to earnings, and right now it's pulling back. So you can see we're in this broader channel here, very beautiful technical channel, respecting the highs and lows immaculately. So we broke above, we held with an inside bar the second day after earnings, broke bearish, seeing some bearish follow through. However, if you notice the volume, declining bear volume on the pullback, declining bear volume on the pullback. I made a tweet about it earlier last week. One of the oldest time and tested patterns that traders have used across the decades, and it has just as much relevance today as it did when it was first being used. So we see this nice impulse move up, brief pullback, consolidating, declining bull volume. This is poised for more continuation. So we'll look at other tickers like Apple. So Apple formed a bit of a, well, I wouldn't say quite a bull flag on the daily chart, but a nice little cup here, broke up higher, great candle today. Amazon, another ticker in the tech sector. So we have a strong lead impulse pulling back here. We'll see if the daily uptrend can continue. What I'm trying to get at here is QQQ has a number of individual tickers, the FANG stocks, which have a tremendous amount of influence over the not only the sector but also the broader markets. So when we see that much bullishness in the individual tech names, particularly the ones I just brought up, that helps bring the overall sentiment of the market to a bullish one. So we're looking at Netflix to have that continuation to lead that momentum, but AMZN with earnings coming up early February, Apple this week, Facebook this week as well, MSFT tomorrow. No, yeah, tomorrow. And Microsoft is just breaking out of this broader pattern as well. So QQQ bulls look to be in full control and based off the technical aspects of the main stocks that trade in the sector, there's a lot of confluence for continuation, so long as these main names do not have botched earnings. IWM, bit of a quiet day today comparatively. Finished with a nice doji candle. New pivot high is today's high of 217.91. Pivot low that the bulls need to defend is 208.26. We'll check in on the hourly trend to see if we get that confirmed daily bounce, and we do not. So we see a strong impulse wave going up, bit of a deep pullback, but we have to break over this pivot high in order to confirm the hourly trend change to bullish and ultimately to set that daily bounce. SMH, brief pullback, finished with a nice hammer candle, good lower wick. Main pivot that the bulls need to break is 246.79, approaching that 250 psychological level. We're still eyeing this triple bottom here at 232.50. Looking into the hourly chart, have not changed the hourly trend. Let's see. Yeah, we could call this a dump. Ultimately, we need to break over that pivot to confirm the daily trend change. Should say the hourly trend change to confirm the daily bounce. TAN had a bit, actually, let's zoom in on SMH, a couple more individual names just to get a broader sense of the market. So NVIDIA, still within this broader pattern here, earnings coming up at the middle part of February. It's trying to get bought up off this volume shelf here, struggling a little bit. SMH bullishness is helping AMD, similar idea, kind of locked into this consolidation, forming a bit of a weekly bull flag here. Very nice to look at, actually. Very nice weekly bull flag. So if we see some of these individual names, MU's another one, it just seems exceptionally bullish, pulling back a little bit here, but making higher lows. So any of these individual names reflecting the overall health of the semiconductor sector. TAN had a bit of a pullback day today. Fat rejection as we broke into all-time highs. The new pivot high that the bulls need to break is 125.98, and the pivot low they need to defend is still that 106.88. Bulls have made enough room where any pullback would likely be bought up compared to this pivot low, and to break that pivot high, continuing the daily uptrend. Looking at some individual names on this, what is it called? FSLR. On this solar sector. So FSLR is one that I have been watching. We see this nice ascending triangle here. Breakout this morning, but no follow through from the bulls. Nice gap up. Bulls bought the initial bullishness, but then sold off when the market kind of capitulated early in the day. Not capitulated, but you know what I mean. When the market pulled back earlier in the day, JKS, another stock that had a weak day. I've been watching this for months, it feels like, trying to figure out what it's going to do. Still making this kind of weekly, almost a monthly bull flag here. So we'll see what happens in the near-term future. But a fat rejection candle today. RUN was another stock that I was watching as we are retesting this high. Looked like we had a nice bounce. We see great volume come in. Inside bar on Friday, last Friday. But then we broke bullish in the morning and then no bull follow through. Lost the hourly uptrend. Daily consolidation still in play. So overall, TAN reflecting through the individual names, bit of a harsh rejection into the all-time high, but still a lot of bullishness in this sector overall. XLV was another strong one, still trying to break out of this bull flag here. So the pivot high that the bulls need to ultimately get over is 118.69, and the one that they're trying to defend, the pivot low of 115.83. So we see increasing bull volume today in today's session. Good to see as we make, like, it appears that we're making a bull flag on top of a bull flag um, to try to break that all-time high. So we'll see how this pans out, but still looking good overall. XLF trying to bounce, great bull volume coming in today. We had a strong impulse move up out of this breakout earlier in December. Strong pullback, so hopefully the bulls can start changing the daily trend. Based off the size of this pullback, the most likely outcome is a lower high compared to this pivot. And if they want to see follow through, the bulls, they need to make a higher low compared to this pivot, break that interim lower high, change the daily trend, and hopefully see some strong continuation. Looking in on the hourly chart, we have not set that daily bounce just yet. We see a dump, bounce. What the bulls need is to defend this pivot low, break this pivot high, change the hourly trend, confirm the daily bounce, and then we can start working our way up from there. But I really like to see this bull volume come in. We see a strong hammer candle as well on this chart. Let the RSI cool off a little bit after getting quite extended through this bull move. And all in all, things still looking very healthy. Bulls need to break once they can get some momentum under them. This 3162 level, and ultimately need to defend this 2883 level. So they had carved out so much space since breaking out that the most likely outcome was that higher low compared to that pivot low. So all we're doing is just adding into the daily uptrend sequence, a bit of a low retracement, which is why the most likely outcome is a lower high, then a higher low, and then hopefully a breakout. But we will see what happens. And XBI showing its strength as well. Bulls have a new pivot high to break, 157.16. Pivot low that they need to defend is 148.81. So very clear technical cues from this sector. We get a high, higher low, higher high, and low, and poised for a higher high right now. So the daily uptrend is still very much intact. RSI is cooling off a little bit. So XBI bulls in full control. I hope you all enjoyed the video today and had a great day trading. I will talk to you tomorrow.